Hello everyone, my name is Gönül Eyüp and I'm a student from Eskişehir Osman Gazi University and my department is English Language Teaching. So today's topic is exploring self-regulated learning SRL strategies. Today we're gonna talk about the strategies and what is self-regulated learning. So let's start with the definition of self-regulated learning. It refers to one's ability to understand and control one's learning environment. So it's about understanding and controlling your environment. Then self-regulation abilities include goal setting, self-monitoring, self-instruction, and self-reinforcement. Now we will look at all of them. So yes, at first, goal setting. Goal setting is the process of taking active steps to achieve your desired outcome. So it's about the steps that you take to achieve your plan, your outcome. The second one is self-monitoring. Self-monitoring is the process in which an individual self-assesses and records the occurrence, frequency, or duration of a target behavior. So there we record our directions and what we are doing at this time. So we are monitoring ourselves. The third one is self-instruction. It refers to techniques that involve the use of self-statement to direct or self-regulate behavior that allow individuals to talk themselves through tasks or activities. So in self-instruction, we are involving ourselves to the learning process. So we are talking to ourselves what we should do and how we should do these tasks or activities. The last one is self-reinforcement. Self-reinforcement is a process whereby individuals control their own behavior by rewarding themselves when a certain standard of performance has been attained or surpassed. We can say that self-reinforcement is also an important part of these self-regulated learning techniques. It's not the whole thing, but yes. So we said that we must set a goal, then monitor ourselves how we are going, then instruct ourselves if we do the right things or the wrong things, and then we must reinforce ourselves. If we do the great thing, if we done it before the deadline, then you can reinforce yourself by giving a gift to yourselves or just other things that you like. So, but if you do not make your plan before the deadline, it will be not nice at all. So let's see other self-regulated learning definitions. Now let's continue with them. Self-regulated learning involves metacognitive, motivational, and behavioral processes that are personally initiated to acquire knowledge and skill. So now we will be talking about metacognitive, motivational, and behavioral purposes. They are the knowledge and skills such as goal setting, planning, learning strategies, self-reinforcement, self-recording, and self-instruction. So we have talking about some of them. So there is another things like planning, learning strategies, reinforcements, then recording. So they are all the definitions of self-regulated learning. How we do learn and how we must learn by keeping up with them. Then, self-regulated learning theory and research is not limited to social forms of education, such as discovery learning, self-education through reading, studying, then programmed instruction or computer-assisted instruction. But it can include social forms of learning, such as modeling, guidance, and feedback from your peers, coaches, and teachers. So, self regulated learning theory and research is not only about education and the social forms of education. We also can learn by modeling, guidance. We can see someone doing something good and we want to be like that person. This is modeling. Then by guidance, that will be always there can be a guide for you if you get some struggles with self-regulated learning. And also the feedback from your peers, coaches, and teachers is also an important point of self-regulated learning by yourself. So now let's move on to the next slide. Most contemporary self-regulation theorists have avoided absolute distinction between internal and external control of learning and have envisioned self-regulation in broader, more interactive terms. So we cannot narrow self-regulated theory by like that. It will be really broadened, how we said before, not only in education, but also as modeling, guidance, and feedbacks as well. Then students can self-regulate their learning not only through covert cognitive means, but also through other behavioral means of self-regulated learning, such as selecting, modifying, or constructing advantageous personal environments or seeking social support. You are the person who creates your own environment. So it's your choice to make it good or bad. And now we will look at effective and now is non-effective self-regulated students. So let's start with effective learners. Effective learners are self-regulating, they analyzing tasks, requirements, they setting predictive goals and selecting, adapting, or inventing strategies to achieve their objectives. So there are an objectives that they want to achieve. So to achieve them, they're analyzing, they're setting goals, they're selecting to achieve them. So it makes these learners effective ones. These learners also monitor progress as they work through the task, managing intrusive emotions and wanting motivation as well as adjusting strategies proceed to faster success. So these effective learners, they're also monitoring themselves as we talked before. Then there are the students who ask. They are the students who ask questions, who take notes, and allocate their time and their resources in ways that help them to be in charge of their own learning. So what we can say? We can say that these learners ask questions, take notes. So it is important for you to do these things to be an effective learner if you're not right now. They also have a good time management, how we see there, and they are in charge of their own learning as well as we are also in charge of our own learning. So now let's move on to the novice learners. So novice learners rely typically on naive forms of self-regulatory processes, such as setting non-specific and distal goals, using non-strategic methods, and inaccurate forms of self-monitoring. They are not as good as the effective ones because they are not setting specific goals, and there is not good methods that they use to achieve these goals, and they cannot even monitor themselves in a right way. So there is still things that they have to improve by this time. So these things distinguish effective and non-effective learners. So now let's move on to the self-regulated strategies. Finally, there are 4 strategies of self-regulated learning. The first one is cognitive strategy. The second one is metacognitive strategy. The third one is motivational strategy. And the fourth one is behavioral strategy. Now let's look at each of them. The first one is cognitive strategies. It is use of learning strategies to understand and remember information. How we can understand and remember this information? Here, by summarizing, taking notes, and making connections. When we learn something, we can summarize it and then use the summarization. We can take notes to understand this topic, and also we can make connection with our prior information. Then the next one is metacognitive strategies. It is related to planning, setting goals, monitoring, and evaluating. The most important point is planning. When we are planning our goals or our objectives, then monitoring, where we monitor ourselves, are we going good or not? If we're going good or not, then evaluating one's learning. So what is the evaluation of our planning and monitoring? Do we achieve our goals or not? The next one is motivational strategies. They are involve self-motivation, taking responsibility for one's success or failures, and developing self-efficacy, which results in increased effort and persistence. Here, things that we can do is positive self-talk, such as I am succeed, I will succeed, I am perfect, I can do this, I know that I'm enough. This is positive self-talk. Then self-reward, how we said before, you can reward yourself. Even if you're not in your mood and you go out to walk, you can reward yourself because you get out of this negative environment, for example. Then goal orientation. It also can motivate yourself. Why do you choose these objectives? Why do you set this goal? Always remember this. Why? The next one is behavioral strategies. They are consist of seeking help and creating a positive learning environment for study. So here we must manage our time really in a good way. Why? Because time is the thing that we cannot touch, that we cannot hold. It's just going, and we must keep in with this time. We must manage our time in a good way because, for example, as an effective and non-effective learners, the effective ones, they are really good at managing their time, but the other ones, they are not. And why? Because effective ones, they use their time for studying, for getting new knowledge, for setting goals, while novice learners, they are not doing these things, but they are in other things. Then seeking help. It is really not a bad thing to ask for help. We are people. We can make mistakes, or we can get upset, and we cannot, and in a time when we cannot plan something or monitor ourselves, we can go and ask for help from our family, from teachers, from coaches, from your friends. Then if it's a really necessary things, you can go to the therapist. It is normal for asking help and you should do it. Then it's creating a good environment. How I said before, a good environment for studying is really important, because imagine yourself, you like and you study better in a quiet environment, but you go to cafe to study and there is a lot of noise. Can you study better? No. So you must choose good environment for yourself. If you learn in a quiet places, please go to the quiet places. So yes, now let's look at this schema. Here is the cycle of self-regulated learning. It shows steps that students can make throughout the process. The first step is plan, set goals, and lay out your strategies. The second step is use strategies and monitor your performance. The next step is reflect on performance. And the last step is use results from previous performance to guide the next one. And it's always in a circle. You always plan something, then you use strategies and monitor yourself, then there's evidence, and it goes in a cycle like that. The next one is the things that I want to tell for you, for self-regulated students. At first, don't worry, please. Mistakes help you to learn. It always like that and always will be like that. Then you must believe in yourself. If not you, then who will believe? Trust only to yourself. Then it's about progress, not perfection. So keep going. There is always a progress. Step by step, you will setting all your goals and please do not care about perfection. It will come, but after the progress. Then your skills are getting stronger. Remember this. Practice today, then keep it up tomorrow. Then you will see the results. So please do not forget that practice makes perfect. This is the main message from me to you, to the self-regulated learners. Then it was all. Thank you all for listening to me. I hope that it was really informed presentation, so you will learn some things for yourself. You learn what is planning, set goaling, why it is important, and what is the strategies of self-regulated learners. Self-regulated learning strategies, actually. So thank you all and see you next time. See you.